Crazy, man. It seems like just yesterday. It really doesn't seem like it's been that long. And as somebody who's been a veteran of elections for basically as long as I can remember, we are here for one final time for you to have the opportunity to cast your vote for President Donald Trump. Hopefully you take advantage of that situation. That's something that unfortunately, it'll be one of my bigger regrets in life, that I will not have the opportunity to do as much. So please, on my behalf, go out there and express your constitutional right to have your voice heard. But I don't want to get too bogged down in that stuff because we're going to be streaming a little bit later because there's so many good memes and oh my god, between the two campaigns, right? Like you had Kamala making a couple of cringy campaign stops, which I want to go over some of that stuff as well. And then Trump making huge rallies with a couple of damn good speakers, man. Like you compare and contrast the two candidates and who they brought up on stage with them on the final days. It's a stark difference. And we'll go over that stuff. We'll go over the polls and some of the down ballot stuff, because I think that's also very interesting. I can be autistic when it comes to the numbers and stuff. So please, and by the time that you see this, if you're here right at the beginning, in about 2 hours time, so depending on where you're at, I want to get to this before, so I guess it's going to be 5 out east and 2 o'clock Pacific. I don't anticipate going much longer than a half hour and change, because we got other videos scheduled out for the day. And then also, I know you guys already have your plans booked up because there are so many streamers, and holy crap, like even Rumble sent out a big list of different creators that you can watch on the night. So I'm just going to sit back, relax, and chill and watch the coverage like everybody else, but I'll be your pregame show. How about that? Got a deal? Good. Fantastic. A little story that perked up yesterday morning before all of the politics got into full swing kind of deals with somebody, kind of dovetails nicely into the Trump campaign, given the fact that on the day Trump released this really good campaign ad. All things considered, I've got some gripes with the boomer rock that he decided to put over the top of it, but really laid out the fact that this is going to be not just Donald Trump in the White House. It's going to be Donald Trump and Elon Musk and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Vivek Ramaswamy and J.D. Vance. Like, it's going to be a whole host of people who are experts in their field, and we're not going to have to worry about placing people with secret agendas in places where they're needed to perform at their best. These are good people with strong values that are here to do what's right for a majority of Americans, not these niche special interest groups that are poisoning and perverting so many institutions, like the Olympic boxer Imane Khelif. Now this one's interesting, right? Because one of the biggest responses that Trump gets, or was getting during his rallies, was when he was running down the things that he's going to do, and whenever he'd get to, we need to take men out of women's sports, everybody would go wild, because realistically, and as Trump pointed out multiple times, it's like when I'm talking to people, who's actually for this insanity? Who actually wants to see lesser male athletes cross the line and dominate in the female realm? Who wants this? Nobody wants this. This is just a pipe dream for insane people. Over the past, 12 months, I would say the person, the supposed transgender athlete who has got the most attention, and the one that Trump brought up time and time again on the campaign trail, both at rallies and in interviews, was alluding to, yes, Imane Khelif, and he was out there saying man, and we didn't really have a lot to go on when it comes to this, okay? And then he threw this on his ad at the end, when it brought up keeping men out of women's sports, and it's like, that's a biological woman by all accounts, until, yes, early on Monday morning, this came out that, there's some leaked medical records. Now, here's the thing, because when all of this stuff was going on to begin with, I took the very brave, nuanced approach that we don't really know for sure. You guys are just kind of going on things. You're just taking the word of a serial quitter saying that I've never been hit that hard in my life before. That's got to be a man. And it's like, well, you just could be a shit boxer. That could also be the thing. But now everybody's running with these leaked medical reports. And it's like, has anybody verified this stuff? Because I have yet to see a second party come out and go, no, yeah, this is true. These line up perfectly. I haven't seen it yet. I'm still willing to be proved wrong in my initial assumption. Because as new evidence comes out, gee, you'd look like kind of an idiot if it's just blatantly obvious that, yeah, this is just another trans athlete taking advantage of the stipulations. I don't necessarily know that will ultimately do now, but I find it interesting, right? Because the IOC swore up and down and discredited, what was it, the Russian testing that ended up raising the concern about the XY chromosomes begin with, and that's what sparked a lot of people's interest in this story. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. If they found XY chromosomes when they were doing a full medical and then disqualified Imane from the competition, how didn't they find well, I'm not going to hold them responsible for not being able to find, you know, the internal testicles or anything like that, but the micro penis though, I'm just wondering, bro. Is that hyperbole? Is that something that is there? Are we dealing with, and this is also the theory that was thrown out at the time, you know, back during the Paris Olympics, are we dealing with like a legit hermaphrodite? Like, is this somebody who actually has a medical condition? A female who has far more body and biochemistry analogous to a man than your typical athletes because, oh, I don't know, I'm of a certain age and I was watching some stuff at the time where it's like, you guys remember a certain WWF women's wrestler by the name of China? Oh yeah, before she went through her plastic surgery, before she got, you know, the inflatables up front and shaved a little bit off the jawline, which I guess would have been a great offense to a lot of modern video game designers today. But you hear interviews with X-Pac, who was, you know, on that Herculean task of banging China, and it's like, yeah, you know, some things, you know, it looked a little bit more than, you know, just a little aggressive nub. So it's like, are we conflating those two things? Because there's a lot to know, and there's a lot we still don't know, but now everybody's running with, oh, see, I was right, that's a guy. And I was like, we don't know anything because these are leaked documents. Nothing's proven at all. So funny how emotionalism will just always trump, regardless of your own very loudly announced principles, right? It's just crazy how your regular tradcons just want to pedestalize women so much. It's amazing. Shocking new development has emerged in the case of Algerian boxer Imane Khelif after a French journalist reportedly gained access to a damning medical report revealing Khelif has testicles. How did you get a hold of this? And yeah, this is coming from a French journalist. Back in the day, you know, when good journalism used to take place, you'd used to need a couple of sources in order to verify the validity of your claims before you run with it. But no, now we're just taking the word of a Frenchman. Bro, come on now. Now the news comes months after, yes, Khelif seized a gold medal in women's boxing at the Paris Olympics. A report is drafted in June of 2023 via collaboration between the Kremlin Bisader Hospital in Paris and Mohamed Lamine Dagabon Hospital in Algiers, Algeria. Drafted by expert endocrinologists Somaya Felda and Jacques Young. Now the report reveals that Khelif is impacted by 5-alpha reductase deficiency, okay, a disorder of sexual development that is only found in biological males. How do you know that for sure? Well, let's see. The genetic abnormality influences the normal development of a child's sexual organs. At birth, male babies impacted by, well, shouldn't that just be the only babies? Because it's an exclusive illness of males, all right? Male babies impacted by 5-alpha are often incorrectly assigned female due to the presence of a deformed genitalia that sometimes takes the appearance of a blind vaginal pouch. Oh, okay, so they can have a vagina that doesn't go anywhere. That's interesting. But yet, we don't know that's the case here. That's just one of the textbook examples. This disorder development typically becomes apparent by puberty when 5-alpha adolescents begin to experience signs of masculinization, such as muscle growth, hair growth, and the absence of breast tissue development or menstruation. Without the access to proper clinical examination, males with 5-alpha may incorrectly believe that they are female into adulthood. Okay. At the end of October, French journalist Jafar, the very French name we have here, obtained a copy of the thorough physical examination that was conducted on Khelif in order to verify the presence of the disorder of sexual development. According to Aouda, clinical report reveals that the MRI determined that Khelif had no uterus, but instead had internal testicles and a micropenis resembling an enlarged clitoris. Yeah, exactly. So she had the little dew claw there. The chromosomal test further confirmed that, yes, Khelif has an XY karyotype. Well, a hormone test found that Khelif had testosterone levels typical of males. Aouda also noted that doctors suggested Khelif's parents may have been blood relatives. Oh, man, you better hope that this is accurate, because there's a whole lot of slander going on here. The report concluded by recommending Khelif be referred to a surgical correction and hormone therapy to help him physically align with his self-perceived gender identity. Okay, and adds that psychological support would be required because the results had very significant neuropsychiatric impact. Interesting. So this is very strange way that there's medical intervention in order to try to get somebody to transition after they've been living their life a certain way. This is a very, very strange way that we're seeing a lot of conservatives come out and advocate for forced transgender surgery and treatment. Interesting. This report coincides with an earlier admission by Khelif's coach, Georges Cazarola, that the Algerian boxer had been subjected to an assessment by the Kremlin Bicester Hospital after being disqualified from women's boxing by the International Boxing Association. Yeah, exactly, and that's what I was referencing earlier. In an interview in August, Cazorla, tepidly conceded that the endocrinologist had determined there was a problem with Khelif's chromosomes at the time. Despite this fact, Cazorla insisted that Khelif should be allowed to compete against females. And you know what? This isn't just simply the opinion, and this is where it gets a little bit foggy, to say the least, because you had the International Boxing Association saying, yeah, no mas, but you also had the International Olympic Committee saying, come on in, after they changed some rules and then changed them again to not allow physical contact between men and women. I find that all to be very interesting. They didn't raise any of those concerns. They didn't make that public at all. So that's why until we get further proof, because these right here, unverified pieces of paper. Could be 1000% true. I'm willing to concede that. Just, we don't know. We're simply playing connect the dots through secondhand information in order to fit a narrative that looks like it could end up holding water. So yeah, until we get more information, and it's very likely that we will, one way or another, I will go ahead and place Imane Khelif back in the category that I had her, him, whatever, in the aftermath of the Olympics before this stuff picked up. It's that the Olympics suck, Imane's utterly irrelevant, and women's sports is only exciting whenever there's a male coming in to spice things up. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it, and hopefully see you guys in a little bit for that election stream. It's going to be fun as hell. I've been waiting 4 years for this stuff. Take care, everyone.